opponents are going to ban Hunter because that's the default ban. And if they don't, that's because they think they can beat it. So what kind of Hunter deck do I want to beat people who think they're beating Hunter? You know, and maybe he decided that, you know, that's the very aggro version.
All right, well, it gets the good start, has a 1 and 2 drop, and even a Houndmaster kind of added in. Oh, Fake does have a Wild Growth, though, and that's an excellent start considering that he has Harvest Golem to kind of continue to push it out. So all of a sudden, maybe things can kind of turn for the Druid. He's got a very good start.
Yeah, he does have a good growth for us allowing Keeper to grow. You know, if that Death Spinner was Undertaker, then his game would be a lot different, but as it is, you know, the moment he plays a big taunt guy, Kolento is just not going to have a lot of things to do.
That's right.
No, he does have 2 Houndmasters, but...
Kolento also doesn't have High Mains, which is often a very important card against Druid. Wow, he's gonna seek for a card off Web Spinner, and he gets Silverback Patriarch.
You found one! Wow, that play I did not expect. I assumed he was going to go for the face and play Flare and eventually Hunter Creeper.
That card's actually pretty annoying to deal with. Oh, but Fake picks up Innervate, so he can kind of kill off the beasts immediately and claim board dominance. This is starting to look pretty bad for Kolento.
Yeah, I think I just play Keeper here. I mean, this deck has a lot of expensive minions, so having Innervate in your hand, you know, is not that bad. You don't have to use it immediately. Like, you know, just playing Force of Nature or Druid of the Claw here. You could play the Druid and attack the 1/4. That would certainly not be bad.
What to do?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you play the Druid, you deny the ability to use Houndmaster. But the Keeper the Grove, of course, like you said, plays more on the curve.
Safeguard the land.
Yeah, and Houndmaster is not going to be that effective. It's going to be good, obviously, but... Yeah, maybe playing the Druid was a better play just because of Houndmaster. Also, your Druid is not threatened because it's going to be a 4/3, and your opponent's going to have 2 1/1s, so it would die to the bone. Yeah, I don't know. Druid also pretty important as a taunter, so not, you know, using that early on definitely gives you a good advantage.
All right, speaking of advantage, after this Houndmaster drops, Fake does have the ability to kind of push through, even with something like Savage Roar and Stabilize. And I think if Kolento's late game has been, you know, effectively sacrificed so that way he can have a stronger early game, and he's not having a good board presence whatsoever against what Fake's able to consistently put out, he's going to be hitting some real big stopgaps unless he draws something like Buzzard Unleash. And even then, does he have enough ability to push through without his high mains?
Yeah, I mean, how? And with only 1 Hunter's Mark, you know, his opponent plays a 4/6 and a 5/10. How good are those Unleash tokens going to be? You know, you're going to draw a bunch of cards, but you have nothing to draw into. Those cards are just bigger than anything that is in your deck. So, yeah, I have to imagine Kolento did not have this matchup in mind when he constructed his Hunter deck.
Does Fake want to use Savage Roar here? That is the question at the moment. All right, Drew the Claw seems to be what he chooses instead. Savage Roar allows you to basically kill off a lot of what's going on. Oh my, he's going to open himself up to Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah, it seems so.
Wow, very ballsy play.
Yeah, it's not great for him if Kolento has Unleashed, because his follow-up is, you know, it's just going to be Harvest Golem.
You know, Fake could feel like has the option to be the aggressor. I'm also so he's keeping his combo together. So this to finish my thought. Also, I wonder if really that use of Innervate was kind of appropriate, considering that he might be drawing into some of his bigger minions. Like if he picks up Scenarios or something equivalent to that, then he's starting to hit some of his like bigger minion curves where he might want to use Innervate earlier on. It's still like not the best mana use or mana turns right now, because like he's gonna be on 6 and there's still a lot of cards that he'd want to play that's cost 7 and 9.
Yeah, at the same time, he doesn't know Kolento doesn't have a good late game, because we know that if he just, doesn't die, he's just gonna win the game.
True.
Because, Kolento doesn't have any high needs. But he doesn't know that. So maybe he thinks, has to be somewhat aggressive. Whereas we know if he just blows the board with taunts, he's just gonna win.
Alright, Fake draws into a 6-mana minion though, so it pays off. And Sylvanas will be the biggest minion on the board by a large margin. Kolento can use Houndmaster number 2, by the way, and start drawing and cycling through with flares, but he needs to kind of find something else. It's not going to be a cycle for Jaime. It's going to be a cycle for cards like Leopard Gnome and Undertaker, and we're talking about some of the top decks that this Hunter's capable of when you don't have the draws. Kolento's under a lot of stress. He realizes that this situation's pretty dire.
And it has to be killing Kolento that he's effectively playing with one less card this entire match, and he hasn't had a window to use that flare yet. Generally when you draw flare, the first thing you want to do is just get rid of it. But it seems like he might not have an opportunity to use it again. So he's basically playing with 2 less cards than his opponent has way less options because of how those cards have constrained his mana.
Alright, well maybe he can get some damage with the bow, but a Keeper of the Grove for Fake, and that can disarm the 3/4 Haunted Creeper that's been Houndmastered, and that allows him to basically kill off the rest of his board here.
Yeah, definitely. Can still follow it up with Harvest Golem.
I mean, you leave up a 1/2, but I mean, everything else seems pretty decent from this point on. And Fake, again, still has the combo. He's getting closer to turn 9. And if he can kind of put out these sticky minions, all of a sudden this Ramp Druid has the possibility to kill off your opponent.
Yeah, ooh, he's not going to go for the silence. Is he going to silence the Mad Scientist instead? Or is he going to shoot it? If it chooses to silence the Mad Scientist, that's very interesting.
Okay.
That might put,
He really has no respect for
Dangerous life total. Yeah, and for his life total.
That is true.
I mean, Kolento has 11 damage in play right now.
Oh, you're right. We're forgetting about how much damage he can kind of push back at his opponent, which might be what he needs to do in this scenario.
Yeah, likely.
You're not going to win the trading war. You're not going to win the late game. And he's got Leroy in hand, too.
Ooh, but he did choose to attack his opponent's minion instead of going for the face. That's also very interesting. Because if I was Kolento, I would be thinking, how am I going to win this game? I'm just going to, try to burst my opponent out. But he thinks, him attacking his opponent's minion here means he thinks he can still win a fair fight. So, he's not desperate yet, from his point of view. Which, if I was him, I would be. But...
Well, it's not over till it's over, and this Druid is left top decking as well. Druid of the Claw comes into the hand of Fake. And maybe we start seeing him just be a little bit more frantic. Maybe if he feels desperate enough to kind of remove what's on the board, he uses cards like Force of Nature, but I still feel like he's in control of this game.
Yeah. I mean, that definitely looks better for him, I think, but he could still very easily lose.
I think you can take an opportunity to steal the Undertaker if you use Sylvanas to crash in and use Druid the Claw to charge here. That could be a good opportunity for you to start taking away your opponent's tools. In fact, this is what he's gonna do.
Do you want to steal the Undertaker or the? Oh, he gets Angry Chicken.
Oh
Okay.
no. That is the. I mean, I guess it's something for the buzzard, but that's probably the worst thing. Imagine if it was King Crush or something to give him some damage.
It is visible that stealing the webs could have stolen the web spinner. Just attack differently.
Well, I guess you deny a draw, but you take a little bit more damage. And I think you're at 18 health. You kind of want to prioritize health.
Yeah, no, I don't think he could have stolen. Well,
Well, Kolento's web spinner really laid an egg here. Angry Chicken
Yeah.
is probably the worst draw he probably could have gotten other than Captain's Parrot.
Yeah, especially since his 2 Houndmasters are gone, so he can't even pump it. You know, I have lost to a pumped up Angry Chicken. It was not fun.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah.
I don't see a way for Kolento to get out of this. He's going to get the Leroy damage in now, but now there's full combo from
Yeah.
Fake, and the Force of Nature Savage Roar patience has paid off for our German player who's been coming from the open bracket, and he's going to upset Kolento 3-2 and jump out to a 1-0 overall record in the group.
Yeah, I can't even count how much damage that's going to be. It's going to be a lot of damage.
Yes. Let's see.
Oh, he actually doesn't get the full...
10 plus 10, so that's or plus 20. I think that's like 30 damage ish. All right, so Kolento is gonna start off to he's gonna start off 3-0, but then follows it up with a defeat, so he's evened up at 1 apiece. And Fake, if he continues